happiest day. Let me backtrack. My parents have always raised me Catholic. Ever since I was little, they've told me how to be Catholic and how our lives revolve around our faith. And one thing they stressed a lot about was marriage and how it's a commitment to each other, a lifelong commitment to someone, and it's like a promise in front of God Himself. And that went on for years and years and years. And then, I've always looked at my parents as, the perfect couple because they've, always followed those rules, and they've always, been good parents to me. And I guess irony kicked in because when I started high school, they said that they were going to get a separation and that they were going to be on the road to divorce. And that was devastating to me because here are these parents that I love so much that are, almost hypocritical. And there was an awkward time after that, and I didn't know how to feel about everything. And the real kicker was that they said that they were going to continue to live under the same roof. And back then, it seemed like a good idea, but looking back at it now, it was so stressful. I remember hating going home because they would argue so much, and they would just go at it every single night, and I didn't know, I remember in high school I joined every program after school, and I go to friends' house and just to not go home. And that has been going on for 5 years, and it got to the point to where I couldn't even take it. A teenager girl should not have to be going through this. I was in the middle of fights. I had to choose sides. I had to hide, and it just turned ugly. And then they finally got a divorce, thank God. And then they moved into we still lived under the same roof, but my mom would definitely keep her distance because she would started dating. And then after meeting this guy, she found out that he was exactly what she was looking for. And then she sits me down and says, "Diane, I think it's time I move out because I am not happy living under the same roof as your father." And my first thought was, really? And then but after it's said, and I remember my heart just dropping because it's my mother, and I'm so used to her having her around, and it was going to be weird not having her around. And I remember I was breaking in tears as I was packing her stuff. And a couple days after she moved out, I noticed that the whole situation was really a blessing in disguise, because I remember my father was a lot more happier. I was a lot more relieved knowing that I didn't have to deal with any of that. And I knew my mother was a lot more happy where she was. And I think my cat was less stressful because, he was happy. He seemed happier. And and I love my parents dearly. And it was probably a happy moment because I realized that all of us were happier, and my parents were happier, and we could all, as a family, in a weird way, just kind of move on, and that was a happy moment for me.